G'day. Welcome to another episode of Graves in Australia Diecast Salvage. Today I'll be playing with two Corgi toys, Marlin, Rambler, Fastbacks. So if you want to come along with the journey with me to see what the results are going to be with this, come with me over to the workbench and we'll take a closer look at them. Welcome to my workbench area. Disregard what's around here because that's just a big mess. One day I'll get round to cleaning it up again, which only lasts for 5 minutes before it's all messy. Anyway, Corgi toys, Marlin the Rambler Fastback, made in Great Britain. This is one of them. It's overpainted. It does have a tow hook. Whether it's staying, that's up for debate at the moment with feeble brain. Has all 4 tyres. Whether they're original or not, I don't know. I don't think so. They won't be original because there's the set on the back are different to the ones on the front. So we may change that to that they're all the same. The piece broken on the bumper here, but we'll fix that. The grille, the rest of the plastic bumper is in reasonable condition. The rear bumper's in reasonable condition. The glass on this one has a crack down the back window. It has paint on the window at the opening doors. Both seat backs are in. The main screen has a little, I think that's some paint on the bottom corner. It does have the window on this door as well, which is good. I don't know whether it actually had door cards to cover that. That I don't know. Now I have used the burr tool on the Dremel to take the mushroomed heads off on both vehicles. So let's have a look at this other one. I don't know whether the suspension's broken in these because it ain't got no suspension or very little. This one has a little bit, but definitely not up the front. So the suspension may be broken. This one has no suspension whatsoever. Again, it's been overpainted. Just like the other one, it has a crack down the back of the screen. The rear bumper's in okay condition. It does have the window in the door. And as mentioned before, I don't know whether these had door cards in them or not. All 4 wheels are there. And the tyres all look the same. Just like the other one. This side of the bumper area is broken away, which must be a common thing for these. The same thing on this side, so we'll do a some sort of repair on there. It does have the window unit with the door on this side. Again, as you can see, no door card as such. Now, by looks of things, they both used to be the red version of the Marlin Fastback, because they came out in two colours as far as I know. There was a red one and a blue one. There was also one that came out in a set with a boat trailer. But I think the one that came out with the boat trailer also had a roof rack, and these don't seem to have roof racks or holes for roof racks in them. Anyway, we're back in a moment and we'll take these apart, and we're back. So as mentioned previously, I used the burr tool on the Dremel to take the post heads off. Other people use a drill, that's fine. Whatever works best for you. And with that, the base should come off. And it does. We will be repainting the base, so even though you're seeing the marks here where I've taken the mushroom heads off, you won't see that because it'll be painted again. So that can go in the caustic soda. Here are our wheels and axles. I'll just give them a bit of a polish up. The same thing with those ones, just so to make the tyres run a little bit easier. Okay, so what's next? The front and rear bumpers have it's a one-piece unit, and well, look at that. Our suspension is there, and it's not broken. So this may have been sitting in the sun, and it has softened up these tabs so we don't have suspension because they're all curled up. So what I'll most likely do to save me a bit of embarrassment later on is I'll probably put this under the hairdryer just to soften them up a bit and straighten them out. In any case, that can go into there. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now comes our interior. Come on. Come on. Hey, little doggy. All right, here's our interior. It does have, like the other vehicle, does have both its seat backs. Does have a steering wheel in it. So we will give this a wash. I'm just seeing whether this part here is broken or not. We'll find out soon enough when we pull the other one apart. But before we do that, there's another piece of plastic, which is the piece that holds in the doors. So we'll just take a little note as to how that is in. And what'll be this notch is up towards the body, and these are up against the body, up in this windscreen end. Anyway, we'll work that out when we get back to our reassembly. The doors just come out. They don't have a metal spring like the Matchbox. And our screen falls out. Now they weren't riveted in or had the mushroomed over the top, so the crack that's in there is from play worn, from playing. So we'll see, we can't buff it out so it can be barely noticeable, because that has worked a couple of times. Otherwise the screen is in fairly good order. It's workable, we can do work with it. The door card or door windows, they're a push fit. So we'll see if we can get them out without breakage. Because you've got to remember these things are quite a few years old, and we have put a crack in it here. So I'll get onto this off camera on the doors. So I won't embarrass myself on that one any further. So there's our base. So let's have a look at this one. Again, it just comes apart the same way. There is our base. I'll put the tow hook into our parts bin, because we may put it back, we may not, I don't know. I really don't know. Our tyres, our hubs need a clean up. Again, I'll just put them into our little tub there. Now what we like on the suspension on this one. Alright, the suspension on this one, we have one tab here broken off completely. This tab over here is in, we may be able to resurrect that one. Let's go to the front of the vehicle, we'll just turn it around. That's a floppy goose. So we'll put that piece aside, and that one aside as well. But I do have something that we can make those work again. Now if I can get my loose lips to work properly, we may be able to get somewhere. Alright, there's that one. Interior. Again. I'll just let it come out. You can see both seat backs. I'll go into our cleanup. Again, we'll have a look at that. Make sure we're putting it in the right way. That's our door holders, and our screen should, well, our door has decided to come out. Might as well take the other door out. Our screen is there. Again, it's a screen that's workable. The crack in the back window isn't as bad as the other one, but we should be able to work with that. Might need to get a bigger tub. there's that. As I said, I'll work on getting these door windows. I'll do that off camera, and I'll see you at the next segment. All right, we have our vehicles now completely apart. Our window units down here. We saved most of it. That is completely intact. This one, we just broke the bottom corner of it. And the same thing with the other two. We just broke the corners, but you're not going to see that. So, excuse me. So I'm going to be A-OK with that. So what we'll do is, with all the screens, if I find your little tub, let's see if that's big enough. Yes, it will be big enough. Bear with me for a moment. Or do I have one already done? Just bear with me, Sorry if I've just knocked you. I may have. No, you're not going to see out of that. When you're not organised, I'm not organised. You get more rubbish. I'll go back to, I'll tell you what, I'm going to move this lot. Well, I'm going to need that. That can go in there. Those two can go in there. That can go in there. All right, who's not? No, there it is. There's the other screen. They can go in there. So what we'll do is we'll put our screens and our door cards into a container, and you can use any disinfectant. You can use an old cheapo one or Dettol. So I've got Dettol handy. So we're going to let those soak for a little while. In there, that can go up the back there. That can go up the back there. So, as I straighten these up, we're going to go to the stripping venue. So, I'll set the scene up for our strippers. We'll be back in a moment. Okay, here we are at our Gravesend, Australia, world famous stripper venue. Our Marlin Rambler is, our participant is in there, playing around with the strippers. But our strippers want to take a little bath and they like to have some hot water. So here we go. I say quite often I put the caustic soda in first, and then I add the water to it. 98% of the time I don't have the big explosion to have the overflow. I've had it a couple of times, but that's only because I wasn't watching what I was doing properly. This is my preferred method of using the caustic soda. Others like to pour in the water and then add the caustic soda. It's entirely up to you. This is my method. This way I can keep adding water if I need to. And that's the end of what's in the kettle. And we can see some flakes of paint here coming off. We can see the paint on this side has come off, showing the car. So I'll let them play around for a little while. We'll give them their hour or half hour. They're paid for it. So, and we'll come back to do a little bit of clean up. Catch you then. Just a little quick update before we move on to the next section. We have done clean up after we've been to the strippers with the brass bristle brush and our scourer. We have polished up the bases. We have done the doors. The thing that I discovered when we were polishing up the car is that, not the fault of Fumble Fingers didn't do it. I had a look at the opening videos and one of them showed that the A-pillar was missing. So we need to do a repair on that, and we need to reattach because she's broken down the bottom on that one, on that side, and this side it also has a crack if it's not broken. So we're going to do a repair on that one. The other side seems to be okay. We dunked the headlights, taillights on the metal piece just for a couple of seconds in the caustic soda just before I tipped it out. So we got where we needed to get the chrome off, we have, so I can do the repairs. And if I didn't have to do the repair on this one, I would leave that as it is. But I've got to do a repair on it. We did save the suspension on that one that had them intact. All we did was use the hairdryer, heated it up slowly, and we pushed down and we got them to straighten up. These ones were broken, they weren't savable, but we will do one of two methods I'm going to use. They're similar, but depends on what I've got to make the suspension unit. So there are a couple of things that will be upcoming if I video them. The screens have had their paint removed. You can barely see the crack in that one. The same thing with that one, you can barely see it. These will get a dunk in the floor polish. Our door units, our door windows, they'll need just a little bit of a polish up. And we can then, I'll put that one down the right way, there we go. We can then also put them in the floor polish just to give them a bit of a shiny like the rest of the casting. So we'll bring you back in a moment. Okay, so before we go into the paint booth, we have a base coat on. We did have it on this one, but we had fumble fingers about and the vehicle was dropped, so we've had to do a repair on the A pillar again, the one that was missing. So we're back to the stage. We're going to put this back into primer and put the base coat back on. Now I like to paint the vehicles that have opening doors on the vehicle. It's just held in place with masking tape so that you have the same colour. Now quite often when you have opening doors or opening bonnets and hoods and whatever, they are slightly different colour to the rest of the casting. Hence why I like to keep the items attached. Here's the A-pillar. I think that looks rather good. I'm happy with that. So I'll get this back into a primer and base coat. And then we shall, no, before we go there, I've done a little bit of work on the suspension. The one that was really curled up, we've been heated it up with the hairdryer and we've straightened them out. They're not as curled up as what they used to be. We've made a new front bumper because not the one, no, I can't put it on that one. And I'll show it to you on this one. We've had to do, I'll try again. Loose lips, or loose tongue I should say, isn't working this properly this morning. So I'll try again. I've made new front bumpers on both these. Now you should be able to see the difference. This one has twin headlights, but we've had to cut this one down a little bit because they were broken anyway. So we've only got one headlight on each of those. So what I've also done with the one that had the missing A pillar, we put in a couple of inserts so that when we put our suspension in, it's not as noticeable that there was something missing. We will put twin headlights on again. We're going to use the crystal, the jewel parts. Well, anyway, you'll see it at the end. But we've made the modifications, so we now have the wraparound bumpers on the front, and we've done it on both of those, so they need to be painted as well. Yeah, so we're up to date on that. You'll see these again when they're ready for painting. I'll show you this one being painted. The other one I'll do off camera. So, see you shortly. All right, so we have our vehicle back in the base coat with the repairs. So here we go with the colour, my colour choice. And the noise maker on. And you should see that we're coming into a nice blue. Only putting a tack coat on for you to see. The rest I'll do off camera. And that's how we'll go. The rest I'll do off camera. And then you shall have the reveal. See you there. This is just a reminder as to what I started with at the beginning of this episode. Corgi toys, Marlin Rambler Fastbacks. And here we are. Now, here we are with our Corgi toys, Marlin Rambler Fastbacks. If you didn't watch the video all the way through, I'll repeat what we've done with them. There were basket cases when we started. We've stripped them, we've repainted them, of course. This one has a new bumper, original tyres, original screens. We painted it, we've scraped the 4 chrome pieces on both vehicles. We'll put a new bumper on this blue one. Got the original tyres, we've cleaned the interiors, cleaned the screens on both of them. And we've given them, so we painted in the taillights. What we did with the blue one, as you can see, we did a wheel swap. And we had to do, not once, but we did it twice, a repair on the A-pillar on this side, because it was completely missing. We did a repair on the suspension on one of these, because they've both got suspensions. They are both rollers. Alright, so they both have suspension. That's all working. I hope you enjoyed the little video as much as I did. And we'll catch you next time at Graves in Australia, Diecast Salvage.